Can you share? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Town of Cedar Lake Unsafe Building Department meeting for June 18th to order at 5:30 p.m. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a roll call, please, Cheryl?
Mr. Wojciak is absent. Mr. Hunley?
Here.
Mr. Teal?
Here.
Mr. Deutmeyer?
Here.
Mr. Eldridge?
Here.
Mr. Austin is absent. Mr. Conley?
Here.
Mr. Gatto?
Here.
Ms. Hyness is present.
Thank you. All right, we're going to start out with the minutes from May 21st, 2025 meeting. Have any questions about that?
Nope, I make a motion to approve them.
All right, I will second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 2-0. Moving on to active unsafe, item number 12611 Klein Avenue, Kubiak Properties. I did have contact with Tim today. He stopped by and kind of filled me in on what was going on with that. As far as the lights getting put on, they had a little bit of a delay and stuff with weather, but he's been keeping me posted on what's going on.
Mr. Chairman, that's been going on since April 2023.
That's correct.
And I see lights don't eliminate the unsafe of the property there. It's for security for his behalf. But I don't see no improvement on the derelict buildings or anything. A gate and lights is nice, but it's not improving the building.
Right, I think at the beginning though, there was a big problem with people actually getting inside, getting in and actually breaking through that barrier that they had on the roof and getting onto the roof and stuff. So I think the first step was to actually get the building secure. As far as, you know, being the unsafe portion of it. You know, people were over there taking photographs around Halloween and everything like that. I understand that the tearing the building down would be a huge expense since it's got that core or that flex core concrete in it. But I mean, that shouldn't really be our concern as a board. So that would be more or less on the lines of, I guess, unsightly, blighted, and stuff like that, since it is secure.
Tony, have you checked it lately? Any improvements back in there yet?
The whole thing was about, like Rich said, was about securing it. The entrance on the north side, to my knowledge, Tim said he secured that back up, and the rooftop, he got a big aluminum sheet from you.
Yeah.
And then I believe he placed a pallet of block or brick or something on it with his forklift from the ground, so that's pretty much not going to be gotten through again.
Well, I'd like to see at least a report of what he plans on doing step by step, month by month. Is some activity getting the property cleaned up.
Yeah, and I know they've been keeping up with the mowing. They did get that fence removed. But as far as whatever the long-term goal or vision is for the property with that building on it, whether it is tore down or it is rehabilitated into whatever.
Right. Well, the fence and light will keep the trespassers away, but it won't do much to resolve the safety part of it.
Right. Okay, so this will just still be on next month.
Yes, but I'd like to have him bring in maybe a step-by-step what they're planning on doing.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll speak with Tim and then see if he can get with his brother. That way we can get an idea what the intentions are. Just because, like you said, it's prior to the meeting, Jim, that this has been going on for a while. But even prior to them owning it, it's good 15 years, Tony.
Ryan would know more about that one.
This has been on an agenda since 2018, 2017. It's been around for a while.
I mean, it's been vacant for how long, too, on top of it?
Oh, correct.
Yeah, so...
And to piggyback off of what you said, it was probably close to 7 years ago. They did have an analysis done to see what the demolition costs would be. and it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000.
Yes.
I know they got a secondary estimate that was just to basically knock the building down into a pile of rubble, and that was still in the six figures.
Yes.
So that's kind of, that's the push and the pull that has been going on this particular property for quite some time.
Yeah. I mean, I still look at the fact, though, that when purchasing something like that, that's what they purchased. They kind of knew the situation going in as well.
$250,000 to them could be, 500 to someone else be the same problem, you know, it's, if we ask for an order, can we have them come in and give us an explanation of what's going on, or what's our next step to get
I
them
mean,
in
you
here?
can always order the property owner to appear and to kind of give you an update as to what the plan is. But the 250 that we were just talking about, that was an estimate that the town had received. So if the town were to demolish it, and that was, again,
Yeah.
5-7 years ago, it was $250,000 out of the town's coffers that it would have had to spend just to clear that property. And then all it does is you just have a property without the building, and who knows what happens from there.
Just
But
see
you
if I
can
can
always
go into
order-
this, though.
Yeah.
You can always order the property owner to appear and to give an update and request that they provide you with plans, and certainly if they aren't complying with that request, or if they're not providing you with sufficient information, then pursuant to the statute, you can always move for demolition orders and things like that, and, you know, make a decision at that point in time.
I suggest we just table this till next month, and give you time to talk to Tim. If nothing comes out of that, then we'll order the next meeting.
Well, I still think that we should probably have, you know, his brother at least on Zoom, because typically that's how, you know, how
Yeah, right.
he attends the meetings, that we have him, you know, be here on Zoom at the next meeting. So defer for 30 days and have them come in.
I don't wanna, it just makes it look bad when the brother of the building inspector's place is going on for a long time, so.
Yeah. So would you like to make the motion to defer then?
Yes, I'll make that motion, we defer this till next meeting.
I will
Does that
second.
include a direction to staff to order them to appear at the next meeting?
What's that?
So does that include direction to staff to send them a letter to order them to appear at the next meeting?
Yeah, yes.
I will second that. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 2-0. Moving on to 14714 Dewey Street, Michael Smith, formerly Urban James Linden.
I'm not Michael, but
If you could please come to the podium and name and address for the record, please.
Cindy Smith, my address, or the one on Dewey Street,
Yours, please.
5924 West 172nd Avenue, both.
Okay. So what do we have going on?
So we've been cleaning out the inside slowly,
Mm-hmm.
trying to help him move things along. But now that road has ended. So now in the next few weeks, we've let him know dumpsters are coming out there and we're gonna start just tossing it.
Okay.
That's kind of where we're at. So, did you wanna know our plan with it?
Yeah, I mean, because, Mr. Linden did inform us that, you know, you guys gave him 60 days to get his stuff out of there.
But it's beyond the 60 days.
Yeah, we're aware of that. Basically just what your intentions are. Do you have plans? Have you brought them in yet to anybody, or
Yeah,
what?
no, I don't have the plans drawn up yet.
Okay,
But, so we've been looking it over, and we did have, Don's Foundation came out. Foundation's good, so we're just gonna re-side it, paint the inside, put a new roof on it. I'm kidding.
I was like,
No, I'm kidding. We gotta get it, since the foundation is good though,
Yeah.
we do have to take everything out into dumpsters instead of being able to demolish it, because we don't wanna ruin the foundation.
right,
So we're gonna take it all down piece by piece.
okay,
So, and then figure out the next step. We're gonna obviously have to rebuild on that platform.
yeah.
So we're that same, radius.
Okay, any time frame on when you think you'll have, like, plans, you being able to present to the building department and be able to come in for demo/rebuild permit?
I already got the demo permit,
Okay,
so already did that. So we're gonna get the dumpsters out so we can get started on cleaning out the inside. Have you seen the inside?
Just got an interior demo permit, so they can,
interior demo permit.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. It's, quite some.
Is the old truck been
I-
removed?
Yeah,
Is it gone now?
yeah, that was another thing. We just kept asking, but we went ahead and did it and then just gave the money.
Yeah, Tony has informed us prior meetings about the inside. There was a lot of stuff.
I just, when the door opened, I just turned around and said, I'm out.
Yeah, it's an understatement. Yeah.
That's my husband's department. I'm not, but my department is I have to come up with a plan.
Okay,
So that's on me. So
okay.
that is all on me.
Yeah.
I just have to come up with it. It's not exactly easy just to drop a plan.
Right, right.
So, so I need to look at that, you know, everything that's there, because we're gonna stay within that, and I'll come up with something.
Okay.
Give me, if you can give me, a month and a half at least, because we just sold our house, and so I got a lot this month to
Yeah.
try to get out of there, so.
So typically, like, our meetings are once a month.
Okay,
So like if we did any type of deferral and stuff like that, it, you know, of course, lease is 30 days, 60 days, you know, depending on, you know, what the individual person has going on, so.
so if you can give, my husband's part of it with him getting it all cleaned out and stuff, he's starting on that here, the dumpsters are coming within 3 weeks.
Okay.
So, and I say dumpsters, there's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be a lot of
Yeah.
dumpsters. He's gonna get going on that part of it, but I have to draw up the plan, so if you can give me 60 days to do that, that would be great.
Yeah, so defer 60 days, you'd have to come back to the meeting,
Okay,
you know, and then kind of keep us.
You just took control of this property April 25th, right?
yes,
I think we should defer it for 60 days. She's done more in 2 months than some of these people have done in 2 years.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
thank you.
So, you like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion, we defer this to the August meeting. At 60 days,
Okay.
I will second that. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 2-0.
Awesome,
See you in 60 days.
thank you very much. Bye.
Moving on to item number 3, 14616 Dewey Street, Frick. Cheryl, I did receive your email. I think I responded. I don't know if I received, thank you, I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, you might have.
You did say that he came in.
I saw him come in the other day, applied for the permit.
I've seen or heard nothing about it. If he showed up,
Oh, so you didn't know, okay, so I
It's like
did
Tuesday.
question, Tim this afternoon when I seen him.
Okay.
He did say, demo/rebuild permit,
was submitted,
huh?
was submitted.
From what I understand, but there may be some issues with the demo/rebuild permit, for drainage, issues possibly.
Okay.
That would kind of also go along with the drainage that was already proposed,
Sure.
in the area. You know, that's already stubbed in, you know, on the east side of the property.
Right.
That is pretty much what I know. I believe Tim said that we can, you know, possibly speak with Luke Sherry today, you know, kind of prior to or after the Plan Commission meeting to see what his thoughts are. I did suggest to Tim that maybe, you know, we get Ben involved, because last I know was when Mr. Bungie was still here, when there was some discussion going on with the whole situation, as far as drainage easements and stuff like that on his parcel. He was informed it wasn't going to affect anything with the building line of his house, anything like that. However, now, getting this permit approved relies on drainage.
Drainage being proper.
So, I think we need to schedule a meeting, see what Luke says, see when, you know, like Ben and Tim and Mr. Frick and Terry can sit down and, you know, I'll make sure we're on the same page.
Correct.
So,
In the
make sense, Jim?
meantime, I'd like to have the police department, just refer to the police department for ordinance violations. And any ordinance violations for junk, weeds, anything been issued?
I think he's had that cleaned up, because there was stuff there before, Jim. So some of these pictures I don't believe are current. There were some current pictures, where if you see midway through, where it shows like a hole in the foundation area,
Right.
those are all boarded up now. A lot of the clutter is gone. I believe all of the clutter is gone, and he does keep it mowed. So it's not like it's overgrown like some of these.
Okay.
So he did make sure the property was secure. So, yeah, so this is, and I don't know where the current photos are, Tony, but I know they're around somewhere, because I've seen them.
This is another one I wouldn't mind deferring. If no improvement though, I'd like to have that order for him to appear.
Yeah, well, if they didn't get the permit approved, I'm not sure if he thought that he didn't have to show up since he applied for it, but, I guess we'll know something between now and 30 days, so definitely a 30-day deferral, sorry, and then, request him to be here, and of course, if he gets approval on anything, then of course, we'll know by then, and we just,
That'd be my
yeah.
start, yeah.
So, I'm ready for a motion?
I make a motion we defer that, till the next meeting.
All right, we have a motion to defer, 30 days till the next meeting, I will second that, roll call, please.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 2-0. Okay, moving on to potential unsafe, 13857 Huseman Street. This is that, old well house. I did speak to Tim on this one as well. Tony, I don't believe you were out there, or did you go?
No.
So, when I asked him about unsafe, it's not like a big house, it's not anything with a lower level foundation, crawl or anything where anybody can get into. I don't know if Tim reached out to the Collinses yet or not.
That was my question, because when I lived in that subdivision, that well house belonged to the subdivision association.
Right.
I don't know if it still belongs to
It
that.
does
or-
not, it is own, so it is its own separate parcel within the Collins's, parcel itself. That's adjacent, it's like right on the property line, it's on the north property line of the Collinses. So yeah, I don't,
Well, it's not unsafe or anything like that, it's,
yeah. I mean, it's an old well house,
An old well
there's
house.
no door on it,
No door, right.
but it's basically, if I were to guess the size of it, maybe 8 foot.
I wonder if that well should be reactivated.
That I don't know. That I don't know, and I don't know if that's something that anybody want to do, just for the simple fact it's on private property and,
But if the subdivision, they got theirs on another private property, if it goes out, then it might be.
yeah, I don't know if that would even be a big enough one to, what all it serviced before, that's way ahead of my time.
That was back in 1950s when I lived.
Way ahead of my time, sorry. So, I don't know what your thoughts are, Jim, other than,
Rich, this was one of the letters that we were going to tweak to send out to...
okay, yeah, that and the 141st was the other one, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And I did not make it in yet, Jim, I was supposed to get with Cheryl and Terry as far as issuing letters like we have in the past.
Right.
But, we've been fighting the sinus thing in and out, and so, that's why I'm having difficulty talking right now, I gotta kind of take pause. So, do we have time, do you have time tomorrow, Cheryl, or Friday, whichever works better to, huh?
I'm out.
I'm
out.
Okay. So possibly sometime next week.
Yeah.
Just let me know, and then I'll just make time to come down here.
Okay.
Not Monday.
No.
You won't
I'm
be
out.
here. You're out.
These are
Okay.
potential, so there's no big rush on it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We're going to...
And as far as Tim said, it's not really unsafe.
No, it's not.
So, but I have not physically walked out there. It's in private property, and of course, you know, we'd have to ask permission. Okay, 13520 Holbert Street. This one, we were really not doing anything with yet. They were keeping mowed. I'm not sure if you know which one this was, Jim. This is North Holbert Street, like 135th area, up against the old Brunt Farm-ish area, north of it. I believe the owner lives out of state, but they're keeping up with it, so right now, and I know it's for sale too. When I drove past it last month, there was a for sale sign in front of it, but I haven't checked on it lately. I think we are more concerned with this 141st one, that I'll get with Cheryl next week and Terry to write that letter. 7704 West 134th Court. Tony, which one was that again?
I'll look it up myself. In a minute.
That's not the one that they took care of, right? Is that the one with that little garage that had the tree?
No, this is Cedar Point Park by Dewey Street, Lee Street, Bryan Street, near Nick's parents' property. Again, this is one that someone had come in a few years back to get a permit for some repairs, and it needs more than just repairs. It's gutted inside, it's got a big hole in the foundation, it just kind of sits there and deteriorates more.
Will it be removed?
I'm sorry, Jim. Go ahead.
Will it be removed from potential unsafe to unsafe?
This is,
Or do we try a letter with this one, or do you think this one's gonna be a little bit more than that?
it was my understanding that the intention for any of them was to send a letter out and see if you could avoid having them here.
So what I'll do is we'll pretty much treat all these the same, even the 7204, 129th Lane?
All right.
Okay.
Yes,
So
you
Cheryl,
should.
we'll set enough time aside that we can, you know, relook at all of these and,
Yeah.
same thing with the Hilltop one. Okay, yeah, and I don't have my notes that, Mr. Hojek did with the, like a preliminary worksheet thing. I don't have them with me today. I left that in a different folder. Under permit demo orders,
We need a motion on that potential, say, send the letters out, or?
no, that's something that I'm just gonna come in,
Okay.
right, Ryan? That's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
taking any action, they haven't been declared to be unsafe as of yet, because we don't have the unsafe premises report.
No. All right, we're gonna move on to 7105 and 7109 West 128th Avenue. That was, it's Lakeview Homes and Development, formerly Cagnina.
My name is Jovan Ozeski, 521 Cochran Drive in Crown Point. I wasn't sure how many people would be here, so I only made
Okay.
a few copies, but as I've gotten up to speed on these, I guess this has been here for a couple of years. You guys have been going on and on with this for 2 years or so.
Yes.
And so I just took possession, a couple weeks ago, and the first page you see there is I'm contracted with Don Foundation to repair 7105. The second one is just a, screenshot, because I had nothing else to give, of 7109. That'll be torn down. My excavator's under contract for that property. And the third page is just a highlight of some of the homes I've done. I have a subdivision in Highland, subdivision in Portage, and so I will get going on these sooner than later, because I know you guys have dealt with this for quite some time.
Yeah.
So,
And any word on, I don't know if that was considered an easement / walking path, as far as coming into the council, as far as vacation on that, or were you planning on doing that when you were figuring on the plans for the house?
right, the latter. So my engineer is gonna give me a survey for both properties, for both peace of mind for myself and peace of mind for the neighbors. For 7109, during that process, when we come to reapply to build a new house, I was going to then vacate that easement And then, as you know, I'm interested in buying 7111, which is next door.
Yes, and I have your email here, so I did print that off.
Yeah. And then I guess my idea would be to build 2 homes in tandem, 7109 and 7111. That 7105, I believe, is salvageable, and then the 7109 is beyond repair. I offered it to the fire department if they wanted to, like, just break down some doors and do some light training there, but it was even beyond what they were interested in.
Okay.
So we will tear that down in the next few weeks, and both contractors will come in and apply for the relevant permits.
So do you have like an estimated timing on when you think things would,
Yeah. Don told me he can get to it in July, towards the end of July for 7105. 7109, it should be in the next few weeks, within 30 days. I'm anticipating him coming in to pull the permits and then tear it down.
okay.
Actually, he's doing a lot of action on it, so I wouldn't mind giving him 60 days to get both properties in, come in 60 days for a meeting.
Yeah, and then
See what it's-
if permits are pulled on the stuff, then there'd be no need for him to
Right.
show, so we can be in contact with you,
Sure.
you know, if that happens.
Yeah, make the motion, we defer this for 60 days.
Before you do that, real quick, Tony, you've been out there more than anyone. Are you comfortable with what he's suggesting as a plan?
We've spoken a few times. If Don's Foundation Repair is confident that they can lift the house and put a foundation under it, then I'm comfortable with that.
Is
I
this
think
the one where we had the picture of like you shoving the rod in the ground trying to find it?
This is the one this is the one next door. The one that I was trying to find the foundation on, where he claimed there was one, actually I tried to find the foundation on both of these, but the one you're speaking of is 7109.
And that one's going away completely.
Correct.
And the plan that they've kind of outlined for 7105, you're okay with?
As long as he can lift it, put a foundation under it, and structurally make it okay, then we can move forward.
Okay. So I guess just for your guys' standpoint, then, obviously, once 7109 is demoed, we can take that one off the list. Once they begin the process of taking care of 7105, obviously, it'll have to get to the point of it no longer being unsafe.
Mhm.
Once that has happened and the build-out's going on, you're comfortable turning it over to the building department, then, you know, we can remove that, and the final direction that we'll need on this, and then the next one, formerly Herrera, will be, these are the 2 that we recorded the orders on.
Mm-hmm.
So we will have to go to the recorder's office and note that we've removed those liens.
And that would be, of course, once 7109 is down, and then 7105 is turned over to the building department, no longer here, then we would make that motion, or we'd take action
Correct.
for you to do that then.
Correct, because when we filed the demo orders on the Cagnina properties, because everything was handled in tandem.
Yeah.
The orders were in tandem, so the recordation shows it's got both of them on it. So even if he knocks 7109 down, we can't rescind that order because 7105 is still on it.
Yeah.
So it has to be.
And we're not pressed for time,
Correct.
because we're not even at the year mark, I believe it's July.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's accurate, because we looked at it not too long ago.
Yeah.
And they're good for 2 years, so
Yeah.
there is certainly time, but, you
Yeah.
know, we're just looking for movement,
Okay.
which is more than we've had recently.
Yes, it is. So,
I make that motion that we defer this and, have the building department remove them from the unsafe list once they okay it.
Yeah, let's just keep the motion at a deferral right now, we'll deal with the removal when that time comes.
It's
60-day deferral.
yeah. So just out of curiosity, Ryan, do we even need to take action on this?
I
Or
mean,
we
it is
just-
technically, I really don't,
'Cause
if you
it's-
wanna take an official action, you can. Is it required? No, because, right, it's kind of, it's sort of an update because the order's still there.
Yeah.
You've asked him to come in because he is the new purchaser, his entity is, you want the plans from them, and ultimately, the order would apply to him.
So Jim, I'm thinking that if things happen sooner, instead of doing a 60-day, if, you know, he's been in contact with me through email, I've spoke with him on the phone and stuff on, you know, on the thoughts and ideas of the property. I think that if things happen sooner, that instead of putting it 60 days, maybe he's here in 30 or maybe not at all, you know, maybe we're good to move on, and then we handle it
But
then.
he's made a financial
Yes.
investment already, so he's.
So I don't think we need to take any
No.
action, we'll just stay in communication and take that route?
Sure.
Sounds good,
The
appreciate
only
you.
thing I would note is you just invite him to return in 60 days in that
Yeah.
meeting in August, to come and give a report if, everything's not done, gone, whatever.
Yeah,
Just so he can present it to the board, you guys can take any action if one's necessary.
sounds good.
Sure, very good, thank you guys.
Thank you. 7308 West 138th Place, all about exteriors, Chris Makarowski, formerly Herrera. I did receive that email, excuse me. Let's see, I don't have that one printed.
You got somebody else?
I have it. Do you want it?
No, I'm good, if he's here. I wasn't sure if he was here, I was gonna...
Yeah, hi.
Hi, name and address for the record, please.
Chris Macherowski, you wanna address this one or?
Oh, your home, please.
44 West Maryland Terrace, Edison, Illinois, 60101.
Okay. So, what do we have going on?
I just, tomorrow I'm gonna sign the contract with my foundation guys, so, as soon as I got the permit, I'm gonna fix the foundation.
Okay, have you brought any of that, have you seen it, Tony? Any of the plans, or?
For, what is the plan at this point?
Foundation, and I'm gonna fix it.
Okay, okay.
That's right.
Yeah, he was kind of back and forth whether he wanted to.
Right, that's what I wanted to ask you, what,
I tried, but I spent a lot of time, so I just decided to, I'm gonna fix it.
Sure.
all right, 'cause I would say this is kind of the same boat.
Yeah.
You're good with that?
Yep.
Yeah, so just, kind of same thing as the last gentleman that was here, as long as you're dealing with the building department, fixing things, since there is the demo order on it, I mean, this is almost identical to the last gentleman that was here. So as soon as you get those, I guess, building permit, then we'll, make a decision next meeting or whatever's going on with it.
All right.
Yeah, if there's nothing going on, then we'll, of course, we'll need to see a lot more.
My contractor said as soon as I sign the contract, he's gonna come over and I'll take a permit, so
Okay.
I hope week or two.
Yeah, I mean, just as long as we're in communication, you with the building department and stuff like that, and just so we know what's going on.
All right.
All right? All right, thank you very much.
Very good.
13026 Fulton Street, Kubiak. I did not speak to Tim about that. I know he was gonna be doing some seeding. It was cleaned up. Tony, do you know if it's finished out at all?
That I don't know. It's been, I would say it's cleaned up, and if he had to do anything, it would just be to seed and pretty much walk away, I guess.
Yeah, I kinda wish I would've asked him about it today. I knew the house was down.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna hurt anything leaving it on there, Jim. I don't know what your thoughts are. I don't wanna remove it and then it not be seated, it'd be a stupid kinda, what's your thought?
I think he's got an investment, he'll seed it, but, it wouldn't hurt to leave it on.
Yeah.
And that's consistent with how you handled other properties. I always think of the Vulture property, right? There's an issue on seating there, and you guys at least kept your fingers on that pulse until
Yeah.
the demo permit was fully closed. And then, once those permits are closed out, then they typically will come up with us. That's how the board has typically handled this, and certainly consistency is important.
Yeah. 1333 Lamore Street. Tony, any update on this one?
Yeah, we had a pretty extensive meeting with the new owner, last month, asking what his intentions were and letting him know what our requests/requirements were.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that permit went out. I know I processed it, I believe it went out, so it may be under permit this time. That's my fault for not checking into that one, but, yeah, I don't have any concerns about that not getting done. And I'll check on the permit tomorrow to make sure that it was actually picked up and paid for. Sometimes they sit in there and.
Yeah. So I guess until that happens, once we know for sure, then, if it's in the building department's hands, then we can at that time take action to just remove it from the list.
Sure. they've already done work on the foundation.
Yeah.
They did get a permit prior to, this repair permit. The foundation is taken care of in that manner, and, beam columns, they filled a portion of it and capped it with a concrete pour, so there's.
Okay.
It's, that's all stabilized, it's just everything from the foundation up to be taken care of.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Update items, 9320 West 142nd Avenue, Northwest Indiana Casas. Any more word on that one, Tony? If
No, he
Mr.
was,
Martin,
he was gonna reach out and, after some guys plugged some holes next to the foundation and verify some footing depth, and I haven't heard anything.
I know the thing is down.
Yeah.
I know there was some question about existing foundation. Do you feel that this really needs to be on the list anymore since it's down?
No,
Or
the only
we-
hang-up really is that the obligation to complete the foundation was not fulfilled. This is not a deep foundation where there's a danger of someone falling over the side like we've had on other ones prior. It's just it's an unsightliness thing at this point, and it's not complete, the demo isn't complete. So, where it goes from now, I don't know.
What's your thought, Jim?
If he's happy with it, I'm happy with it.
I guess this kind of goes back to the prior one. Is the demo permit still open?
It is, well, there was a limited term on it. It's not, the demo is not completed. The permit is expired, the demo is not completed and closed out.
And if we go back to the 13026 Fulton Street, the Kubiak property, is that demo permit closed out?
It is open, but it is not expired.
Correct, understood. But the action you just took was to keep the Fulton Street property on the list because of the seating issue. If this permit, the demo permit, is not closed out, the consistency here would be to keep that on the list.
Until it's closed out. Yeah.
Or until additional action needs to be taken, right? If they never take care of the foundation issue, then it's a whole separate problem.
Yeah. Now, Tony, you've been in contact with Mr. Martin in the past on what's going on with things, or?
Pretty much only when he's contacted all of us or Cheryl or something to that effect.
When was the last time you had any contact with them?
That would have been during the meeting here on Zoom.
And he was supposed to take some action since then?
Correct.
Nothing that you know of has happened?
Nothing that I know unless, and I mean Cheryl would have forwarded anything, so
Yeah.
I assume you haven't heard anything.
I have not seen anything either.
Right.
Can we send them a notice to the
So I was just gonna say that,
Yep.
with that fact pattern at play, it might be worthwhile to invite him to attend next month. Because maybe he doesn't understand something, there have been some difficulties with communication in the past.
Yeah.
So just to make sure everyone's on the same page as what the requirements are.
Sound good, Cheryl? You can send, thank you. 7303 West 129th Avenue, Fouch. Pretty much same thing with this, Tony?
He
Still,
works on it when he can,
and it's not unsafe, right? He has an
right.
active permit?
It's just a remodel project at this point.
So that would be for a year, right, that permit?
Yes.
Do we know when he got it to, know when it's set to expire?
I can tell you that one a couple months ago.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember the start time on it. I thought it'd been a while, though.
A little while, not long, but a little. It took him a while to pick it up. So if his term started when it was picked up, then
Okay. So that'll stay.
Well, this one, just, I know we're splitting hairs a little bit. So is this a demo permit or a?
no, this is a remodel.
Okay. So the building department obviously has requirements, periodic inspections, all that stuff that is consistent with the remodeling permit.
Right.
Is there any part of that property that is unsafe?
Aside from just the unsightliness, which, like I said, it's a remodel permit at this point. So if it were to go stale and, he walks away from it, I guess it's a different story.
Then it becomes unsafe because they never finished it.
Correct.
Right, but at this juncture, it's kind of up to you, right? You kind of have a new makeup of the board as to how you want to handle these. You know, it's a little bit different than, hey, you're knocking down the house and you didn't close out the demo permit because you didn't seed it or you didn't deal with the foundation, right? This is, they did some demo or they were fixing, you know, the foundation, the windows, the roof, the siding, the top, the gutters, all that stuff, and they're just knocking it off piece by piece. It's up to you how you want to handle that. In the past, some boards have elected to keep them on. Others have elected to say, hey, it's in the building department's hands. We don't need to keep our fingers on the pulse of this because the building department can handle it. That's kind of the
I do feel that way. You know, I also see that it doesn't hurt anything being on the list. You know,
It's not active, it's just an update from Tony.
yeah, you good with that?
Right,
Just leave it on the list.
You see unsafe about it, yeah, just.
Yeah.
Let's go, John.
Ian, I don't know if you've seen the photos before, Jim. Before, I believe, the northwest corner of the house, there was a pretty substantial crack in the foundation wall and stuff like that. That was the first thing he fixed, right, Tony? Got that all taken care of. So now it's more cosmetic than anything.
Right.
So I'd say we leave it on and
Leave it on, yeah.
13713 Parish Avenue, Diamond Peak Homes.
Yeah.
Have you driven by to see if the door is fixed
I
yet or
haven't seen the
no?
door, but it's deteriorating more and more. The roof's been more, the back panelings are falling off now. It's getting worse every week, so.
Yeah.
I think we ought to send him a letter and have him come to our next meeting so we know what his plans are.
I know they were in front of the plan commission when they were going for, they even presented the plans, you've seen them, right?
Right. They were gonna make it like a house out of it.
Yeah.
But, it's getting worse shape, and it's, I know there was a problem with the door. Their access can be gained in that building any way you want. If some kids get up in that silo, or something like that, call.
Well, maybe we can, ask, Mr. Herbert to, show up at the next meeting, and then we can discuss, I think we talked the last time about, the fence that they put up over at the old bar on Lake Shore.
I was gonna ask about that too.
Yeah, I remember there was some discussion about that, so maybe we need to, instruct them to do that.
Right.
I mean, 'cause kids are gonna keep breaking into the door and stuff like that.
And it's just falling apart.
Doesn't mean they can't climb over a fence, but if there's at least some, effort to detour.
At least we know what his plans might be.
Yeah. Might be.
Timetable of it.
Or, yeah. So Cheryl, if we can send them a notice to appear at the next one, just to,
Yeah.
just have some discussion on it. Item 46599 Fernwood, Mogan. Any update on this one, Ryan?
Nothing new on the Mogan front, still waiting on the estate.
I guess we can do the others is the same if you just wanna go down the list.
Yeah, Ward and Land Bank, as I reported last month, we got the court entered judgments against them. They are valid and active judgment liens against those properties. Judgment liens in Indiana are valid for 10 years unless you were to renew it because you had a reason to believe you could collect upon it. The directive questions on both of these will be, what are you gonna do with them? Land Bank, I don't really know much about. I was here when they came in. They were very motivated early on, and then they just disappeared, and nobody's ever heard from them since. That would lead me to question whether they just completely abandoned the project or whether they have liquidity issues in the business. I know that some of our notices that were sent to them at one of the addresses, we had a bunch, but one of them was returned to us. So I don't know how active they still are or what they're doing or what they own, what their other obligations are, things that could impact your ability to collect for that one. Ward is similar but different in that the owners of the Ward property are all deceased.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure if there's any heirs around. If there are, nobody's done anything to open an estate. For all intents and purposes, that property is just going to sit. I have no idea, I've never taken the time to look and see if the taxes are current. It's very possible they're not, and if they're not, the property ultimately goes up for tax sale, and then you're never gonna get paid. So that one probably warrants a little bit of research if you want me to do it. But then the question becomes how you proceed, and the only real way to proceed on this is to foreclose on your judgment lien against the property in the same fashion you'd foreclose against a mortgage. So, you know, we filed the foreclosure proceedings, we'd have to publish notice because nobody's around. You know, you get a judgment after basically 60 days because you have to publish, and then it goes up for sheriff's sale, they sell it, the town would, you know, recoup its judgment amount is what we would bid. And if somebody outbid us, we get the money for the judgment and all that stuff. If not, the town would get the property, then it could offload it or sell it or something like that.
How soon can we do that process, or how, you know, is
To
there?
file a foreclosure action?
Yeah,
We'd have to update the title commitment that we got on this one a few years back. That's not terribly difficult because they've already ran title on it once, so they're just updating it from, you know, X date on forward. So we would have to know who we'd name as defendants. I don't believe there was a mortgage on this property. Again, I'd have to pull this file because it's been a little while. But I can get that information, you know, kind of have a better feel for what things look like for next month's meeting. And then if you guys want to take action and direct the filing of foreclosure action, if that's what you want to do.
I mean, in my opinion, I don't know about what you think, Jim, I would think the sooner the better on that parcel, just because of the circumstances.
The only way you're ever going to collect on this property is if a foreclosure action is filed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the risk is most likely you're not going to get anything.
Right.
It's a little bit of acreage too, right?
It's a buildable lot.
It's low, I would be worried about drainage and floodplain. I don't know if it's in the floodplain or not.
Well, I guess my main thing is, there's a big difference between this one and Land Bank, because Land Bank is unimproved road, the house is gone. They'd be
That's a tough.
really
Yeah.
not impossible to build on it, but there would have to be road improvement at their expense to make it a buildable lot.
That's a private road, I believe, isn't that? Is that even a?
Well, there's a road sign on there.
Right, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, there's.
Yeah, I know there's some differences, so that's why I would think that if Ryan, if you can definitely have that information for us by next meeting, you know, at least for the ward parcel.
Sure.
I would think that would, what do you think on that, Jim? Sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll handle it that way.
Fine.
All right, thank you. Item 7, 127, or 127th Lane. This one, we still have a few interested parties in this parcel. We just need to get something going on this, you know, get somebody to.
Is that one that we've discussed before?
That is correct.
I have reached out to 3 different appraisers to get updated appraisals on these properties. I'm just waiting to hear back proposals from those appraisers.
Okay, I did receive an email, it kind of goes along with another written communication, that Mr. Parker received with a adjacent property owner with, asking if the town could stop someone from buying it, and there's no way we can. But I just wanted to, you know, be on the record that I did receive written communication from another resident, that would like to see someone not be able to bid on it, and we can't do that. So.
Yep. They can buy it, right?
Well, it would go to, since there's several interested parties, 2 that I know for sure, it would go to the highest bidder. And, you know, basically, that's all that can be done. If somebody doesn't want someone to buy it, you just be the higher bidder.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty much it, right, Brian? That's,
Yep.
yeah. So, I guess, man, you just keep us updated.
Yep.
With that one? Thank you. Then the Edison one, I didn't talk to Tim about it today, but as soon as, this is the parcel, north of 144th, east of the ditch right there, set way north of 144th, back up on Hill, town-owned parcel. As soon as Tim was going to, get the house down over at the WPM site, the equipment was gonna go over to there to start tearing that one down.
So there's a house on that lot?
There is a house.
Is that a lot that we're interested in selling?
No. At least my opinion, I don't think so, because it's also on an unimproved, I mean, if you ask me, it's never gonna be a road, because it's kinda like a wetland area. I don't know if they call it Sherman in one spot, Edison in another spot. If you look on GIS, access is actually through Rockland, which is one block to the, east. You'd have to go to the end and around that way. That's actually how Tim is planning on, dragging the,
I think I was out there a couple weeks ago looking at that.
yeah, so it's part of a lot more parcels.
Mhm.
That was part of some trail system at one time.
Right.
So I would say this is something we need to really consider. I made it clear in the past that what I'd like to see, which is just my opinion, is give, once it's torn down, if the parks can utilize it somehow, a shelter, gazebo, whatever, and put it into parks, but that's, that would take a lot more discussion other than just something I'd like to see. But I don't think this is something we want to consider getting appraisals on. I think this is more valuable and useful to the town, whether it be for recreation purposes
Okay.
or something like that.
Okay.
All right, anything else, Jim, before public comment?
I'd like to know, the update on the old Three Stooges property. Are they get a permit to build, or is it's unsafe with the fence around it, or?
Right.
So we have no
I
idea
don't know
what
if
they're
Terry's seen
doing.
anything, they would go through Terry first. I don't know how that thing, Heather always knew when she was here because she was on plan commission.
Yes.
So she knew updates on what they were up to, and I have no clue. I thought that they had an approved site plan, and they were.
They did have an approved site plan, but there's been no action or anything.
Correct.
It's, right now, I'd say it's unsafe, but just that fence there.
Well, from what I understand is the last, what I heard, nothing official, was that they were actually in the process of looking at some other parcel next to it or close to it that could potentially change things, but then that doesn't mean anything to us. From what I understand, not being on plan commission, there was approval,
Right.
but then if something came available and they want to change plans, that kind of messes things up. It doesn't fix the situation.
The west
And
side
it was
or
our decision to have them put the fence up.
Yes.
So nobody could get inside there and possibly fall and get hurt.
Yeah.
is it still an eyesore or unsafe on the main road?
It's an eyesore.
And I heard that, they would change their plans, they're gonna build a house there, so I don't know what's going on it.
Well, then maybe this is another one, Jim, that we,
I never heard that.
I've never heard that.
man, that's a good question. They're not on the unsafe list anymore.
Yeah, so if you
So what
want
do-
them on, you gotta go through the whole process to bring them back on. We would need an unsafe premises report done, that has to be presented to the board would have to accept it, move it into an active item, all presumably, at least as I understand it, for offense.
Did they get a building permit yet, or?
No.
No.
Has anybody been in communication with them since the last meeting?
Probably be the logical first step would be just to call them
And who typically was in contact with them in the past?
Cheryl has been, I have been. I'm sure we've got an email address or a phone number for Joe Lopez.
It's Joe Lopez, yeah.
Maybe just to reach out to him, a little less formal than the letter, just get some kind of an update, I guess, because we need to know what's going on. Not necessarily us, because it's not in our board anymore, but, it's the building department, plan commission as a whole.
Well, just to let him know that it just continues to sit there, it's gonna be back in here, so.
Yeah, and do you think just a phone call versus us going through the process of a letter?
I'll call him.
Yeah, and then if you get no response, then I guess we can make it official with certified,
Yeah.
yeah.
But again, this board can't really do much until
Yeah,
we at least have an unsafe premises report.
yeah. Jim, prior to the meeting, I know, before we go to public comment again, you were asking about, on some of these that have been on for a while, that seem to get just kicked down the road a ways, as far as the imposing fines, kinda like how, what it was gonna be with, plan commission and stuff. And I know he spoke with you, Ryan. Would you like to elaborate a little bit on that, on what we would have to do for
Yeah,
that?
so the unsafe building law allows this commission to fine people. But, and I think we talked a little bit about this last meeting, but the only way you can fine someone is for violating your order. So, similar to kind of what we do with a regular like demolition order, you can enter, hasn't been done in my tenure, but it's possible, you can enter orders to basically require certain repairs. Right, so for some of these people that are, you know, rehabbing instead of demoing, let's take the Linden James property, if they were just gonna rehab it, you know, you could set into orders and say, you know, you need to do X by Y date. Right, foundation repair has to be done by September 30th. Right, the roof has to be fixed by whatever, October 31st, and establish timeframes like that. And someone who violates that order could be fined pursuant to the statute. Now, you get into kind of a sticky situation of how much specifics and how much control you want to have, because if you start setting deadlines, certainly there could be arguments that those deadlines aren't reasonable, unless of course they're here and they agree to them. You know, and then forcing a fine and then collecting a fine, different things. Right? You could say, hey, you're fined, whatever, $500, come and pay. And they say, no, then what? Right? What's the enforcement mechanism from there? So, issuing a fine, collecting a fine, not always, you know, apples and apples, but, you know, you'll never know if you don't try.
So could though imposing a fine in doing that order, not with the intention on saying, okay, we know they're not gonna do anything, but could that also work to our benefit, on an individual parcel, that if it was gonna be $250 or $500, because if they didn't meet a deadline, this would actually kinda light a fire under someone to get something done?
It could, I mean, it could certainly be used as a sword.
More of a leverage kinda?
Yeah, certainly there's some leverage, and, you know, I'm not saying don't ever try to collect on the fine.
Yeah.
You can, if you have somebody who is repeatedly disregarding your orders, that's a possibility. The other, you know, leverage play you have is you push for an entire demolition of the property versus, you know, go and fix the gutters and the roof and all that stuff, so long as the justification's there.
Yeah, and then I see that into a same thing, if we did that, then that would also go under a 2-year demo order,
Yeah,
and,
if you did that.
Can an unpaid fine be placed as a lien?
I mean, you'd have to go to court and file it. It's not something that you could, I don't know of any mechanism in the statute that would allow the town to go into lien for something like that, not like you would for a sewer bill or a water bill. And it would just kind of become a judgment lien, right? You would, effectively, would kind of be like almost like a contempt filing in a circuit or superior court to make it an actual judgment against them. But, I mean, those are circumstances that certainly could be handy for people that make plans and make representations to you guys and don't follow through.
and I think we're getting the list cleaned up as we go, you know. I guess more of this is just information as we get ready to start getting more on the list, to start a pattern moving forward on how things are gonna get handled. Some of the major ones that have been on here, of course, recently sold, good news, they're gonna be getting taken care of, but I just know that it's probably better to have it all in place and set, I guess, an understanding, you know, as we start adding more to the list.
Yeah, and there are some jurisdictions in Lake County that do impose fines. it's certainly within your rights under the statute. It's just, how big of a stick do you wanna swing, and, how much work do you wanna make for everyone, right? Because if you want to, say, set a property up for potential fine, we have to go through, prepare a demo, similar like repair type order, like what we had before, that the board would have to approve. So, theoretically, we prep it for the next meeting, you enter at the next meeting. They have a appeal deadline, but that appeal deadline is 10 days. So it's very, very limited. So they would have to notify you of their, ability or their desire to appeal it. You would then set a hearing, presumably at the next meeting, and, on and on you go. But they're all due process protections, because you're talking about someone's property that the government is trying to do something against. So that's the reasons for it.
Yeah.
It's just, there's a whole gambit of things that could happen that we just don't know until you're in the situation.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions before? All right, we'll move on to public comment for unsafe building. Second call for public comment. Third call. Anyone online? Does not look like it. All right, this meeting is adjourned at 6:31. Next meeting, July